I have to admit, I procrastinated so bad in getting this video together. Yes, I did. I procrastinated. I tried to bring you a new video every week, and I did not bring it in a timely manner because I was just laying on my bed, doom scrolling through my phone. And I'm like, I need to do a video this week. And I literally was taking forever to get on this camera and come to you, which is exactly what I'm talking about today. We're talking about how procrastination is the assassination to your destination. That is the word from Eileen Weiler, and I will never forget when she said those words. And if you see me or heard me in person, I've said this, whether it's on my masterclass or whether it's on a stage. I've said it all the time. Procrastination is the assassination to your destination, and I'm going to get into it. And if you never heard me say it, come to my masterclass. The link is below, and you will hear me say it again. Okay, now let's get into what that looks like. You've heard, we know that we need to create that post to give us that visibility so our ideal client can find us. We know that. We know that we need to send out that email so we can build that nurture with our ideal client, build that relationship so they can find us. We know that we need to craft that message, that buyer ready message that magnetize your audience and get them to see you as the answer and not the option. We know all that, right? We know all that. You have been watching my videos forever. You've been going through my playlist. We know that. But if we know that, if we know procrastination is the assassination to our destination, what is hindering us from stepping out there? Now that we know, because 95% of the time we know what the problem is, we just don't know how to solve the problem that we said we have. So I'm going to help you solve it today in this video. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It's your girl, Sherri Somers. Let me get into it. So in order for me, why you should listen to me, because as a person who has done all this stuff from having ADHD, and I by the way, I self-diagnosed myself, just to let you know. Don't have no receipt for that. So in these online streets, but for a person who has self-diagnosed myself, I have been I know when there's a delay in something that I know that I need to do. I know there's a deeper issue. So people love to look at things from a surface level. Why, if somebody will say, I'm not making sales. Okay, you're not making sales. Why? I don't have no clients. Why you don't have any clients? I don't have any leads. You don't have any leads. Why you don't have any leads, right? So it's a deeper, you have to pull back the rug on all the things to go deeper on why things are happening, why things are not happening. And we tend not to do that. We tend to stay surface level and say, oh, I don't have any clients. Well, are you marketing? Yes, I'm marketing. Well, is your message connecting? My message may not be connected. Maybe I'm not saying the right word. Well, maybe that's the true issue of why you're actually not getting clients. So you're not getting clients because your messaging need to be better. It's not pulling through. It's not creating a pattern interrupt. Now, why it's not creating a pattern interrupt? I'm not saying the right message. Okay, so you need to learn how to do that, and that take muscles to learn, and so on and so forth. But that's deep. So we got to take 5 steps back up to what I just said. If you're not even putting yourself out there and you're procrastinating in putting yourself out there, it is going to assassinate your business. It is going to assassinate a business, because when people procrastinate because they don't believe that the next video that they do may be the video that transformed their life. They don't believe that the next emails that they sent may be that one email that moved them from 0 to 5K to 10K. They don't believe that the next phone call may be that person that's saying yes to them. They just don't believe. So they delay in the belief. They delay and they delay because they don't believe it's going to happen. So because, again, if you've ever listened to any of my videos, I spoke about you have done everything you believe, right? I wanted to write a book, and I believe I could write a book. So guess what I did? Hey, I wrote the book, right? So everything that you do, everything that you believe, you do. So if there is a way in which you're feeling like you're indecisive, like even if you make a decision, then you change that decision, you become indecisive. The reason why you're showing up indecisive is because you don't believe. There's not a self-trust, which I did a whole video on self-trust. So go to my playlist. It will have all about self-trust there. So there's a whole thing about that self-trust in you is broken. That self-trust in you is broken. And when that self-trust in you is broken, it's hard to connect anything else. It's hard to go out and take action on what you truly say you want because there is self-trust that is broken. So then we delay, and because we delay, we create that assassination behavior for our business. And then can't come the end of the month and you're like, where is the money? And you're like, well, there was no seed planted for you to get the money, for you to get the harvest of what you put in. So we have to break the loop. There's a continuous loop that is happening in for us reaching our audience to make that impact that we need to make the wealth that we need to create, to get the clients that we need to create, to make that transformation in life that we need to make. There is a loop that is going on in our mental, right? And if we can solve the loop in our mental, anything else, strategy and tactics, I've said it 10,000 different ways. Strategy and tactics don't mean crap until we've solved the thoughts that are in our mind, that are in our head. And when we solve that problem, we solve that thoughts in our mind, then we become unstoppable. We become so unstoppable. And sometimes that breaking sometimes breaking that situation, and it's so funny because usually I need to put my phone on do not disturb. Sometime breaking that cycle is going to require you breaking that cycle is going to require you to start with, how do we break procrastination? If we know procrastination is the assassination to our destination, how do we break the cycle? How do we stop the loop from happening? How do we stop those negative thoughts that we go out and take action? The first thing you have to do, you have to break it from the spiritual first. And anytime when you have a yoke, when you have a situation that's on you, it cannot be done from a physical. You cannot fight the flesh with the flesh. It has to be done from a spiritual. And from that spiritual, it has to be a belief system, a supernatural belief system where you start seeing yourself. So number one, you have to believe, right? You have to believe that you have the ability to do it. And number two, you have to start shifting your identity to what you believe. So if you know that you need to put yourself out there and you need to create a plan, a marketing plan to market your business so your ideal client can find you, the first thing is you have to create, number one, a belief system that you are the authority and you hold the expertise that can transform someone's life. You have to believe that in your soul. And once you have that belief system, now you have to shift the identity to match what you just said that you believe. So that's the two things that's happening. I was talking to a young lady that reached out to me, and she is amazing. She works with people to get their wardrobe up and looking amazing, looking great. And when I was talking with her, she said, sometimes, Sherri, I have, some insecurities, and insecurities come from believing when I get in a certain room that why am I here? I'm not supposed to be in a room. I'm so behind compared to everybody else in the room. And that self-sabotage set in for me. And because the knowledge of what I know versus what my bank account looked like made me feel like an imposter syndrome. Like it make me feel that I'm not worthy to be in these spaces that I'm in. So it just made me kind of have this abandonment issues and so on and so forth. And when I was having a conversation with her, I said to her, I said, I get it. I said, I get it. And I understand it because that used to be me. That used to be me. So how do you solve that? You solve that by being able to identify who you are, not from a monetary standpoint, but who you are in believing of what you are. And what I mean by that is, I said to her, I said, stop allowing your bank account to navigate what your worth is, because your bank account go up, your bank account go down, it go left, it go center, it go right. So you can never use a number figure to talk about how valuable you are. Yes, we can talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce and their assets and their houses and the things that they're, the value of what they carry. Yes, we we can talk about that, but that's just mediocre because they can sell a house tomorrow and take them out of the Forbes billionaire list. They can. So it's just a, that's why I got rid of titles and my degrees on my walls. They used to be up here on my walls, and I got rid of them because I don't want anyone who is attracted to me because I have a criminology degree and I'm good at reading human mind and human psychology from having a criminology degree and from being in law enforcement for 10 years. I don't want you to follow me because I have a master's of management degree. So I can understand how marketing and business and how business work because I have a degree of masters of management behind me. What I want you to follow me for is my belief in who I say I am and what I say I am and the confidence that I put behind that belief. In even now, showing up, doing my videos, and coming to you in wherever the privacy of your space that you're listening to this in. Because that doesn't change. Matter of fact, that elevate and grow, it doesn't change. So I'm going to go to a space where that will not change. Because degrees and all that stuff, I you know, that doesn't speak on who you are. Let me explain to you why. The There are people in my school, whether it's high school or college or whatever, and we have class president, vice president. I can tell you my life is better than those. There are people who had straight A's in school and A, B honor roll and all this stuff. And that has bull crap to do with who you will become later on in life. That has nothing, that don't have anything to do with Teen China. So I have always learned not to get attached to titles, not to get attached to anything superficial, not to get attached to a house. I am freeing. I post on my Facebook page the other day. I said one of the gifts that I know that I have is I live my life through Lisa Nichols' thought on life. And one of the things she says, you have nothing to hide, nothing to protect, nothing to defend, and nothing to prove. And I live by those four principles: nothing to hide, nothing to protect, nothing to defend, and definitely nothing to prove. When you live your life that freeing, like you're open book, you're transparent, people can search you up. The girl you see on Google and the girl you see on stage and the girl you see on podcast is the same girl you see in person. That is my big flex. That is who I live. I grow and I contribute back to the world. I grow and I contributed back to the world. That's it. It's just that simple. I went to a Tony Robbins event and you were talking about the 6th level of life behaviors. I chopped that up. And then, but the last 2 was about the purpose of you living is for you to grow. It's not about being certain of what tomorrow may bring. But if you focus on growth, like you're trying to become a better person every day, if you focus on growth, like you're certain that you're trying to become a better person every day, and then in being that better person, you're trying to contribute back into the world, that is your flex. That is who you identify yourself as. I can identify to myself that you can have a conversation with me, and that conversation that you have in 1 minute can transform your life. Just a word, a sentence, or something I say can heal your marriage back together, or can heal your finances, or can attract more clients to you, and can transform your life, and can make an impact in the world. I was on Instagram and I was tagged in a young lady that was on the beach, and she was reading my book, The Challenge Code. Do you know how much joy that lady that I received from her watching that? She could have choose any book in the world, but she chose my book, The Challenge Code, to be the book reader of the conversation of what she wanted to spend time in peace and reading. Right? Because I contributed by writing a book, by putting that book in the world. And in doing so, when we're talking about procrastination, in doing so, you have to get to an identity in your life where you have nothing to hide, nothing to protect, nothing to defend, and nothing to prove. You have to get to a space in your life where that when you feel that, that's called freedom. And you need no money for that. It's called freedom. My life is an open book. I can boss up and be going through stuff and let you know and still be bossing up. I am an open book. And I encourage, not want, I encourage you to live your life by those same four principles. Because when you have that freeing spirit, and I'm not talking about who, what, or if it goes, it goes. It's a flow, right? It's a fly. Nothing to hide, nothing to protect, nothing to prove, nothing to defend. When you live your life in that space, what happened is you stop procrastinate because you're like, what am I trying to prove? Who am I trying to protect? Nothing. So I'm going to show up how I'm going to show up. Like I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up how I'm going to show up. It's that confidence that you have to say, I'm showing up because I want to, not because I need to. Right? And I'm showing up because the noise of anyone, other people's opinion does not shape my prosperity. And I challenged the young lady I was talking to. I challenged her. I said, figure out how to live by those four principles. And when you figure out how to live by those four principles, what happened next is now now imagine what your life look like when you adapt those into your brain. When you start adapting those things into your brain, your brain is like, okay, so we can put out in the world, what can we create in the world from living our identity through those four things. And there's no need to procrastinate because we're just putting that stuff out in the world because we want to contribute to life. We're not being forced to do that. We're not being forced to do it. So I challenge you to break the cycle, is to live your life in a space where you're not trying to hide anything. You're not trying to, you know, and, and in that same conversation with a young lady, I said, you know what's crazy? I said, somebody can meet me today and hear about my life. And then somebody who's been knowing me a little bit longer, y'all may have y'all get the same thing because these people, y'all get the same information because these two people does not matter. Does not matter because your abundance is not tied to how well you work, or how you're a good person, or how you show up in the world. Your abundance is tied to who you believe you are and whose you believe you are. So who you believe you are and whose you believe you are. And when you believe that, everything works out for your good. It's working in your favor for you, even the most challenging thing. So when you go to show up in the world, when you go to do that podcast, when you go to send that email, when you go to create that digital product, when you go out in the world, the aura of how you step out to do your revenue activity, whatever that may do, that the aura of how you step out to do your launch, it's so transformative because people are like, how can I get there? How can I be like that? This week I was like, okay, when you first started off, when you first start off in a space, your brain needs some type of validation to say, okay, I am who I say I am as good as I say I am. So yes, you use the titles and the accolades and all that to convince your brain that, hey, I'm good because I have this. I'm good because I have this license. I'm good because I have that. I'm good. But as you get established, you say to yourself, like, really, I'm good because I am me. I am me. Every room that I walk in, I elevate. Every spaces that I go to, I elevate. I was in a particular situation a few weeks ago where I didn't even know in that space low vibrating or low self-esteem people exist. And my girlfriends has been working with me like, you have been doing the confidence work so much that you forget that in a particular situation that these type of women exist. And I'm like, I didn't know. Because in my world, I work so much in forgetting her that, and I always believe that people want better from themselves. I always believe that people want better for themselves. Why not? Why not? Your job is to come in this world and leave it a better place than you found it. So why not? And sometimes they have to knock me across the head and be like, girl, not everybody think in this high vibrating manner as you. You got to understand that. And I'm like, I'm going to brainwash them to think this way. I am. What else are you going to choose? Low self-esteem? How did that work out for you? If you're not going to choose high self-esteem, high vibration, high belief system, high thinking, high identity, seeing yourself at a higher level, what else is out there to choose? I'm waiting. What's the other option? Negativity, Debbie Downer. No. Low self-esteem. Don't respect yourself. What else is out there? Hello. It's me. Okay. What else is out there? So instead of looking at procrastination like I'm just procrastinated because I don't want to do it, let's get deeper on what is causing that procrastination. What is causing that? What are you hiding? What are you feeling you got to protect? What do you feel like you got to prove? Because if you start there, it'll unlock some things that that maybe it's too sensitive that you may have to start getting healing on, so you can show up as your highest self. You can show up as who you truly are. And you can show up as who you truly are, because there's a lot of choices that you can make in life. And there's a lot of options. You can choose to allow the enemy of your thought to determine who you are. Because, baby, let me tell you something. If you don't choose who you are, the world will choose it for you. Let me say it again for the people in the back. If you don't choose who you are, the world will choose it for you. So I'm going to challenge you as you hit subscribe and the bell so you can know when I come on. To walk in a space to stop the procrastination, to walk in a space that allow you to say that you have nothing to hide, nothing to protect, nothing to defend, and definitely nothing to prove. Hey, it's your girl, Sherri Somers. See you on our next episode.